And of course, on the flip side, you have, marketplaces such as Amazon and others who now look at this and say, Jesus, there's someone eating aggressively into my direct interface with the user. So what can I do?
Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Marketplace. I'm Ingrid. I'm glad you tuned into the first of our summer deep dive episodes. And today we will be talking about, let's say the elephant in the room, agentic commerce. There's been a lot of talk in the last weeks. Amazon has been pushing its AI bot Buy For Me, and ChatGPT is secretly trying out shopping features and including payment solutions directly into the chat interface. And Shopify is desperately trying to shut out AI bots from their stores. So lots of things going on. I think it's high time for a deep dive into agentic commerce. Don't you think, Valerie?
Yeah, I fully agree. And I'm really happy that we have just the right person with us to discuss these matters today. And this is German e-commerce evangelist and fellow podcast host, Stefan Wenzel. Welcome back, Stefan. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me. Hello.
Yeah, welcome back from me as well, Stefan.
Thank you.
And what a great timing for our recording, I think, because I asked you to be our guest and talk about AI commerce, I think, at end of June, so shortly after your keynote for the K5 conference in Berlin. Yeah. And there you predicted that because of the rise of AI shopping agents, and I quote, the classic online shop of today will turn into the vinyl LP of tomorrow. So something cherished and well-loved by a select number of shopping connoisseurs, but mostly irrelevant for the main bulk of e-commerce turnover. What a great line, by the way. And so here we are, just a month later, and and things are getting, out of control, I think. So, what we record today, what you record today will go live in 3 weeks. So what do you think will have happened until then?
The world will have changed again.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I fully sympathize with everybody that reacted strongly. How dare he to call our online shops, some historic format.
You got some strong reactions, I guess.
Oh yeah, I did, and I didn't mean to be mean. When you look at the data and you look at the development of traffic, humans against bots, and then to differentiate out the normal bots, the pricing scrapers, and so forth, and you differentiate out the AI agents, then you clearly see, and of course there are different data sources and it depends on who models what and what have you, but broad brush, you see that there is a rise of traffic share from the so-called AI agents. And the natural development will be that this takes over from humans. And just look at your own behavior when you search for something on the internet. You used to do this on Google, didn't you? And now you observe yourself more often to do it on ChatGPT or Perplexity and others. But even when you are still, in case you are still using Google, you will no longer click through as much as you used to do because you get the AI overview on top of the page. So AI answers all the questions that you may have had. Gone are the days of, providing hyperlinks as a result. You get the answer. And therefore, traffic will change. And this has a fundamental change or impact on our industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, can already see this is going to be a hot episode today.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that right after a very short break.
When you look at marketplaces in the Netherlands, the first things that catches your eye is Bol. Bol has established itself as a local hero in the Netherlands and Belgium and has become the market leader in the region thanks to a clear focus on customer satisfaction and innovation.
As a generalist marketplace, it offers more than 42 million products in 28 categories and access to more than 13 million customers. This also makes Bol attractive for retailers from neighboring countries. Bol supports them with personal assistance like direct support and customized solutions for new retailers, as well as local know-how about regional customer needs.
Want to know more about Bool? Then don't miss my upcoming webinar, Start Selling on Bool Marketplace, Faster, Easier, Smarter, on September 23rd. Patricia Ley, Partnership Growth Manager at Bool, will be joined by Hassan Imran, E-Commerce Manager at Neudorf Performances, the digital unit of Neudorf, a German heritage brand known for sustainable gardening products. Together, they share how international brands can successfully sell on Bool and what it takes to get started. Register now. You'll find the link in the show notes. Well, to start as the first question of all, because you were like talking about agentic commerce as everyone knows what it is, maybe we should first clarify what is this exactly what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. And I think that's kind of the golden thread throughout, most of the AI stuff. Everybody assumes everybody else knows, including themselves. I mean, who dares to say, I know? Huh? Yeah. I mean, in short, I think the simple way to look at it is, small, cute little bots are sent off by technology to do stuff for you. That's kind of what an agent is, right? It's software that does things on your behalf, and the one who sends the small supporter, your personal assistant, if you will, your little agent, the one who sends it off is the one who owns the relationship to the user. So if you are a user of ChatGPT and you use ChatGPT and you send off the ChatGPT shopping bot, the AI bot, then that piece of software goes off, wanders off the web, and does things for you. And that may be anything and everything. So find information, seek clarification on questions you may have, but it may also include to do a transaction. So, and that's not a small change, because we used to think of commerce as a place you go. And this now changes into commerce as a protocol. Because no longer does a human user visit a domain, a URL, or an app. No, a piece of software seeks communication with your shopping platform. So it's actually two systems talking to each other, one on behalf of the user, and the other one is an institution formerly known as the retailer or the marketplace or the brand. So commerce as a protocol, it's stuff isn't sold on a site or a domain. It is sold through a system. So it's system to system communication. And that's where I think people kind of lose it a bit, because all of a sudden we're looking at basically two versions of the web. One is the ones where humans still browse websites, and that's obviously still happening. But now, more often and increasing rapidly, you have those pieces of software, those small agents, and it's nothing cute about it. I just make it sound cute. But I mean, it's just software doing things on behalf of users, no human entering your domain at all.
To follow up on that, what is the potential here? Because you said in the beginning that, okay, more and more people are using AI for all sorts of things. And so using them for commerce is just the next step. But what I often realize is when I talk to classic e-commerce people, that they sort of deny the real threat of this, saying things like, people use AI to browse or maybe to research, but they wouldn't buy on ChatGPT, would they? What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, let me tell you one thing. If there is anything we can rely on, it is that humans love solutions that remove friction or increase convenience. I mean, that's what we just love. I mean, why else did marketplaces thrive over the last 15 years? I mean, why are marketplaces the number one formula in e-commerce? Because they took out a lot of friction from what was formerly in that process called e-commerce. And of course, if those, let's say, chatbots, however you want to call them, those AI platforms, once they start to be convenient enough, because they're your one go-to destination for all problems, questions you may have, believe you me, we will all pivot quite quickly to where, we save energy and efforts and
time.
And time, exactly. So I would be really cautious and watch this very closely. My gut feeling is, it took us, I don't know, 15 years to see e-commerce coming from literally nowhere to approximately 20%. I think we're now seeing something similar in AI agent context within, I would say, more than 5 years ish. I would say it's a very compromised or aggregated version, accelerated version of what we saw with digital commerce overall. So people will absolutely use it. And when you look at the first AI-based browsers like Dia, for example, I mean, you need to check this stuff out. People who listen to this podcast and feel a bit, hands off, just download this stuff. Just play around with it. Just experience it yourself. If you, download a browser like Dia, you will see how, AI first web browsing looks like. And you open several tabs and you can tell the browser to do things across the tabs that you have open. So research something in tab 1, which may be a recipe you want to cook in the evening, and then tab 2 is your favorite supermarket, online supermarket, and tab 3 is a competitor. And then that agent within your browser, you just tell that agent to now wander off and purchase the ingredients from the recipe in the other 2 open tabs from the supermarkets. Compare prices, choose the cheaper one, choose the best delivery option, put it in a basket, and even check out and place the order. I mean, this is so you don't have to go to any of those websites anymore. Type in again your whole, user data and everything, your address. No, it's all done on your behalf and for you. I mean, this is a compelling proposition as soon as it works reliably. And this is still early days. I'm not saying it's all perfect yet, but it's evolving and improving rapidly.
I would say, as far as we can see now, Amazon does the other way around, right? They have like their commerce platform where all the products are already online, and now they invented Rufus, where you have the AI agent next to the search field, where you can type in, say like, hey, I want to buy like, I don't know, the new sport shoes from Brooks in, I don't know, size, whatever. Can you give me all the results about it and with the best price? And there you have it already integrated, right? On the other hand, you have ChatGPT, where you can still right now ask for like, hey, I need a brand which is suiting like this and this and this, what I want to have. And then please give me the names or the websites, addresses. And I think it's like, just like, I don't know, a glimpse of time till we can say like, okay, and see, I need size this. Where is the size still available to the best price, and give me the link. And then I can buy it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have basically, everybody tries to own the direct contact with the consumer. That's nothing new, right? We've seen that battle for decades. So that battle intensified. Now everybody wants to own the AI interface with the consumer, with the user. Yeah. So you have the ChatGPTs and OpenAIs and Geminis, Googles of this world and they do an awful amount of activity to become that starting point of your, let's say, browse behavior. And they are obviously investing heavily into becoming a browser, because by definition, that's how you browse the web. So they want to be the tool you use to browse the web. And once you start to see enough benefits in their browser, they own your browsing, and they can use their technology to support everything that you need in support of your session. And of course, on the flip side, you have, marketplaces such as Amazon and others who now look at this and say, Jesus, there's someone eating aggressively into my direct interface with the user. So what can I do? And now they use the same technology or their own version of it, and they try to solve for the same problem. So if you are on Amazon and you may find a gap in the assortment, hard to believe that that's possible, but it is. So imagine there is a gap in the assortment. Then now Amazon sends off their own agent who then places an order on your behalf on a third-party website, which is, of course, mind-blowing when you consider where we come from, right? Yeah. So now, they generate revenue on third-party websites. Why? Because for them, it's more valuable to keep that customer in their own walled garden at the expense of even, giving some of the revenue to someone else, but they are the intermediate. So that's the battle we see going on, and it's, of course, fierce.
And I'm just wondering, it sounds a bit desperate from Amazon's side to go for Buy for Me and other AI protocols like Rufus and stuff, because the picture you're painting here, that it's all about convenience and about the easiest contact from the idea in my head, I want to buy something, to the actual product arrives at my door, and AI can shorten that process. So, but if I can use my AI browser, for example, that I use for everything else, and send them off to buy the stuff that is in my head, why should I even use the AI that is provided by, for example, Amazon? Is that like a last man standing resort, and will it lead to anything?
Well, I think, they have to make that bet. So, they have to assume that the experience on those AI platforms, AI-based browsers, isn't perfect enough for e-commerce. So they have to assume that. And I think for the time being, that's not a bad idea, because we've seen others like Klarna's and others to move into marketplaces and become a marketplace. They failed because it's not as easy as it sounds to become a meaningful destination for shopping. That's not trivial, right? Yeah. So I think it's for them. I think it makes an awful amount of sense to assume that in a specialized use case like e-commerce, them having one of the biggest product assortment catalog, however you want to call this, in the world, for them to build a specialized experience, AI empowered on top of that ocean of product, makes an awful amount of sense. But you're right. Assume that the AI platforms do a good job in providing all that, Malawi in their own browser. Yeah. It becomes not an easy pitch for a destination.
Yeah, I also think, what happens to all the back-end processes, right? The process doesn't end by, okay, I've clicked the buy box and bought the product, and now it's like magically coming to my door. What happens if you want to return the product, if you have some customer issues, customer service topics, etc.? There's also still so many open questions, right? Like, who's covering that then? And there, I think, from the AI agents, I would not guess that there's any support in that, despite of where is my parcel? But if as soon as it becomes more challenging, or where you need people to ask about it, or where you need the connection to the stores itself, then it becomes a bit more tricky, right?
Yeah, I think it's a very important point, because they do none of this at the moment themselves. Yeah. So they partner with the Shopifys of this world. And of course, Amazon obviously has an vertically integrated solution end to end. Yeah. But this is definitely something that you will see now more competition and negotiations going on, because even if the OpenAI, Google, Gemini, whatever, even if all those AI layers own the direct discovery and interface with the consumer, who does the fulfillment? Who does the warehousing? Yeah. So you still need product, you still need fulfillment, backwards and forwards. So I think marketplaces / retailers will continue to play a pivotal role on the infrastructure layer, if you want to call it like that. So, and of course, for them, that's a huge change, because today, a large part of their business model, the larger part of their business models rely on having customer access, including retail media, by the way. So that currently, if you look at the P&L, having a direct interface with the consumers for them is vital. This will go away to some extent, but there is an infrastructure layer beneath that I think, they have a fair chance, if they're big enough and good enough, to partner with those AI models to say, well, I can't have it all, but you can't do the infrastructure piece yourself. So how about not partnering with just, Shopify, but how about partnering with Zalando or with Otto or, or with Amazon, even for other models? So that I think we will absolutely see. And hence the marketplaces will play a second role. So it's not just the intermediate role that they have, but they will also be a service partner to the AI models themselves.
Mm-hmm. And then I would also assume that retail media will have a hard time, because who needs it then, right? And on the other hand, data will be much more important, because that's the AI, where the AI gets their source data from, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, retail media, the way we define it today, relies on humans browsing your domain. I mean, that's the premise, and that will obviously not go away, but it will be a lot smaller. So that's under pressure. But at the same time, if you think further than the premise of users come into your site, if you think of shopping as a protocol, there is another retail media, if you will, that could be ranking as a service. So you could think of retail media as being the solution for brands and owners of product to be visible in AI searches, for example, in AI models. And somebody has to do that. And because those platforms sit on that product data and they enhance the product data and they do semantic enhancements, contextual enhancements. So that's kind of a new service layer under the, let's say, a retail media, whatever you want to call it, 2.0. AI first retail media, I think, will have that as a revenue stream, whilst the other revenue stream will decline.
Fair point.
I absolutely think that this is coming sooner than later, because after all the AI companies are burning money really fast. So they need revenue streams. And shopping and commerce is one of the revenue streams that they are now touching upon. And you can just figure that the next one is going to be ads in some kind of way, some kind of new way. I'm just, let's see what the customer is then thinking about when you basically get Google Ads in, so what you have now been used to as Google Ads in your AI chat interface.
But ranking as a service is something else than advertising. This would be a service that the retail media company, let's say Zalando, they would be offering a ranking as a service to their merchants. So they would say, well, you pay me money and I make sure that the AI engines understand you. So we amplify visibility in AI, generally speaking. So that's a service. And on top of that, they can ask for money from the AI providers to say, well, if I partner with you and I provide you high quality information, so signals around products and commerce, then that's worth something. Because remember, the amount of money that pours into those models, they have to deliver best-in-class outcome. So, I mean, they are really, really fighting hard to have high-quality results in their models. So they want to partner with people that give them high-quality content. That could be marketplaces on commerce.
So AI SEO, basically.
Well,
in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's like SEO as a service, but in the AI world. So it's like, kind of.
Interesting concept here.
Really good point, Stefan. Let's continue this discussion after another very short break in which Ingrid tells us more about an event she's visiting in September.
Yes, indeed. On Friday, 25th September, the eBay Open is coming back to Germany. That is after a break of 2 years. And that it's a family gathering of eBay sellers. They will all come together in Berlin at the Brewdog Dog Tap in Marienpark.
Expect a full eBay experience, powerful keynotes, including a strategic outlook by eBay Germany's CEO Saskia Meyer-André. Next level, high insights on AI, Gen Z trends, hands-on masterclasses, and tons of chances to network. And it's also a celebration. eBay turns 30 years old, so it's part conference, part festival.
I'll be there in person, and I'm very honored to serve on the jury for this year's eBay Awards, which is recognizing the best sellers across Germany and now I'm on this for the 6th time in a row in the journey. That's a great job because I always get to meet so many interesting and inspired eBay sellers there. So tickets are now on sale with an early bird price of €89 and later on €99 regular. So grab yours soon and let's meet in Berlin. Let's turn this around, this conversation a bit on the brand side, just to keep that, a bit more operative in a way. Because let's assume that things are changing in the way that we have now described, that the front end of retailers and marketplaces become less and less relevant because a huge part of the turnover is going through AI agents. But what does this mean for brands and manufacturers of products? How are they acting in this new e-commerce world?
Well, I mean, I think the first headline is you have to manage the transition, because the reality is, what we used to see as a business isn't gone. It's just there is a major change ahead of us. But at the moment, people don't feel it yet. That's why they're skeptical and they say, "Boy, you must be bullshitting me. I mean, this yes. I don't see any of it. What are you talking about?" But this is the problem. I don't know if you saw the Cloudflare CEO interview where he explained the data that he sees in terms of crawls to referral rate. So, websites crawl your site and they give you a referral in return. That's kind of the business model of the web, right? So Google crawls your site, and because they do so, they give you a hyperlink as a result and forward traffic to you. That's the deal. And it used to be 1 to 2. So 1 crawl, 2 referrals. That used to be the early days of the web. I crawl you once, and I crawl you twice, and I send you 1 traffic in return. That changed for Google. That changed to 1 to 18. So they crawl you 18 times. They send you 1 visitor. That's already something people would say, it's not a great deal, is it? Well, on ChatGPT, that's 1,500 to 1. So they crawl you 1,500 times. They send you 1 visit. And guess what? For Anthropic, it's 60,000 to 1. So they crawl 60,000 pages of yours and they send you 1 visit. So there is something coming towards you, and people say, I don't see traffic from AI, so it can't be big. Well, yeah, it can, because they crawled you 60,000 times and they only sent you 1. So it's already there. You just don't see it that clearly because they're not forwarding traffic. It's a different model. Data becomes the currency. So those models need your data. That's why they crawl you so often. And they have more appetite for data than the web can provide. I mean, they've eaten the web. They ran out of web content. It's done. They absorbed the web. Everything that's available has been absorbed. So that's why the pressure on them, on their model, the need of their models to get good signals, good high quality data. That's why this is an opportunity for anybody who owns qualitative data to make a business. So good content, good publishing, they don't need to let them crawl for free. They need them to pay. It's a license business that they need to think about. And product data, the same. If you have high quality product data, high quality consumer data, ratings, reviews, return information, these are all things they crave. So this becomes a business. And I think that's where brands need to think along and say, do I own something that is an asset, a potential asset to the AI models? If so, that's a business. And if you can't do it yourself, well, partner with someone. And of course, Zalando is one who would be, glad to partner, but you'll pay for this. Or you try to partner through things like Cloudflare. Or that's why, for example, Shopify now excludes AI bots and agents by default, because they say, well, the default is you can't get in. But if you do want to come in, let's make a deal. So if you want my data, you can pay. That's no problem. But it becomes a business model. Data, your product data becomes a business model. It's different to what it used to be. That's why people struggle with that. And again, I'm not arrogant at all. I'm in it as well. I'm scratching my forehead every day. So it's easy to get a bit confused here. Yeah.
That's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, pay for your AI bot to access your site. But still, if you're talking about data and let's put that down to a product. I don't know if I sell a watch, then I know how big it is and how fast it goes and how reliable it is and how deep I can dive with it and all these data points. That's what a product needs in a way. But even especially if it's a luxury brand, then they would say what a product is I don't know. It's brand. It's wealth. It's freedom. It's choice. It's whatever. So where does brand have a place in all of this? So emotion that is connected to a product. that, and by the way, people have been telling us over the last 5 to 10 years that you need these kind of things attached to your product if you want to differentiate it from your Chinese competition, for example.
Yeah, I think when you as a brand think about this, I mean, I would start with imagining two different audiences. So you have your humans, and people know how this, more or less, how this game works. But now you have a second audience, and that's the AI agent. So you need to get your head around who is this? So, how does an AI agent, in quotation marks, think? So what are the sources that an AI agent refers to make a judgment call on your product, your brand, whatever it may be? And when you start to think in like an audience, AI agents as an audience, you will start to find ways and understand. By the way, it's still evolving, right? It's like humans evolve as well. Where do they research? How do they make purchasing? That's the same with AI agents. And I don't know if you read about it, but for example, I think it's ChatGPT that, for example, listens very much or highly to the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung and their reviews on running shoes. So when you sell when you're selling running shoes, that's a great place to be.
I wonder how that happened.
I don't know. No, because most likely because the FAZ is a well-renowned, I don't know, credible publishing source.
Yeah.
Great. So if they do a review on running shoes and they test running shoes, maybe it's nothing more complicated than that. Then we trust that this is also trustworthy. And then those AI bots, they take that information and they treat it as a strong signal. So when you try to hack, in quotation marks, the system, well, make sure that you're tested and you're good. The problem is people don't have good products, and therefore they're not well tested. That's where why I said on the K5, gone are the days of cheap arbitrage. This is you need to have something genuinely good, because AI will make it a lot more difficult for you to fool around. If you have shitty shoes, you will not be featured in those reviews, and if you are, you will be awful in the review, in that test. So when you think about it that way and you try to be where AI bots try to understand your brand or your product, this is where you need to be a source of trustworthy information. Sounds a bit abstract, isn't. It's just not a cookie cutter. Here is your 10 pages SEO hack. It's not as trivial as this. But it's a data play. And you need to be featured in trustworthy sources. And you need to be talked about well, because AI absorbs everything and tries to understand what's a great signal. And if in a highly credible source, if you're well discussed and people talk about your brand very positively, chances are high that AI search results will feature you accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wow. That to sum that up, everything changes.
Well, yeah, but it's good, huh?
As always,
like everything. Yeah, but in this case, it's like really
faster.
everything. It's just the contact between the brand and the customer, between the retailer and the customer. It's the way that products are being found. It's the way that products are being advertised. It's new relationships between the service providers along the commerce chain are going to change because of that. So yeah, everything changes. Great times to be alive.
Yeah, but it was boring the last 15 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, in a way, that's true. Yeah,
no, it's
not going to be
change.
boring in the next years. That's true.
Spin the wheel faster. Yeah.
Great. Okay, Stefan, this brings us to the end of our time for today, but thank you very much. I have a feeling that we could do this episode all over again in, I don't know, September or October, and we're going to have all new things to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but thank you very much for your insights today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah.
That was our first summer deep dive, I would say. So thank you, Stefan, for having these insights and sharing it. We would love to tune you in next time for our second one, when we discuss the impact of social commerce, especially TikTok Shop, on today's marketplace business, together with Christina Mertens. And Stefan, I saw that you recently also did this with her, right?
Absolutely. I was invited. I had the honor to be the host of their 100th episode of their own podcast. So that was good stuff.
That's good stuff. Yeah, definitely listen into that. It's in German though, but if you understand, to have a listen. It's always very fun to have a listen to Christina and to Stefan as well in both of their podcasts. So thank you for today, and tune in next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace,
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.